pastor's wife, she's like, she get me to look and she's like, you're tired. And I'm like, stop looking into my soul, lady, please.
Because I feel like yours was even more intense because you were also maid of honor.
Maid of honor. You had brothers.
I had brothers.
You weren't going on any bachelor trips.
Oh,
I was going on a bachelorette trip, a bridal shower.
I wasn't even a bridesmaid, so I didn't have to buy a dress. So it was 2 pages of us, 24 people.
Yeah.
And we were all just in there like, me too,
I can relate.
too.
I
Did
can
we
relate.
all live the same
Thought it was
life?
just me. Yeah, we lived the same life.
Welcome to
Marriage Pentacles Chats from the Peak, where God's favorites link up. My name is Dr. Laura.
And I'm Emmy.
And this is another episode of Chats from the Peak.
Welcome back.
Hey, y'all. And all things Marriage Pentacle, all things Chats from the Peak. It's just another episode here for you. And, you know, it's good to be here.
I'm happy.
Are you?
I am.
You look
I love it
nice.
here. Thank you. So do you.
We love it here. Duckweed Studios.
Duckweed Studios for life.
Hello. Oh, not for life. We're definitely going to elevate.
Amen.
Praise God.
Into our own network studio. God is good.
God is good.
Claiming it.
We just catching up a little bit. But if you are new here, welcome to Marriage Pentacles Chats from the Peak, where we are a platform that talk about all things marriage, healthy relationships, and everything in between. And here on Chats from the Peak, we do it from a clinical lens, a cultural lens, and a little bit of life experience. So if one of those things kind of relate to you, if you're a clinical girly, you want the facts. Yep. If you're cultured in any type of way, we're here. And if you need some just practical day-to-day, we're your girls as well.
Application.
So yeah, we invite you to join our Peak Seeker community, and we want you to like, comment, and subscribe, and click the notification bell so you can know when we're dropping new episodes, dropping new exciting things or in the works. You are first to know about it all. So just hit the notification bell. So today's episode is one that is long overdue. And in honor of International or Women's History Month, this is an episode that relates specifically for the girlies, but the men can absolutely partner and ally with us to make sure that some of these habits that we've taken on over the years, we burn them, we kill them.
Dismantle.
We dismantle. That's the word, dismantle. Yeah. So, we're going to get into the internet chokehold.
Yeah. So, a couple years ago, I found a page called Eldest Daughters Club on Instagram, right? And so when I saw this, for some reason, people, if you follow me or you know me, I take Sister of the Groom very seriously.
SOTG, right here.
SOTG.
Yeah. Right here.
And Laura was right with me as
we was
Sister
in the
of
trenches.
the Groom and Sister
trenches.
of the Bride.
Yeah.
Because, again, we are the oldest daughters.
Yes, we are, the PMs.
And it is a lifestyle.
It is.
To the point where we joined a small group called
Bakira's Gathering. Yes. And it's for literally firstborn daughters. It is a thing,
It is a thing.
It's a thing. So you might not even need to be African to relate that it's a thing.
No.
But if you are a firstborn daughter and have siblings and have to manage and be a parent and be a parent to your parents, be a parent to your siblings. You have to carry matter on your head. It is a thing, right? And so we've joined this small group, which is just it's a way to build community within within your church group or whatever. And so our friend created this small group called Bakira's Group, where it's really where we just unpack what it means to be a first daughter and really heal from some of the trauma that comes with being a firstborn as well, And
I didn't realize, I guess being on the first call and hearing it was 12 of us.
No, it was 24 people on the call.
Oh
24.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So it was over 20 of us.
Yeah, it was over 20.
I think I only saw the first page.
That's why.
Yeah. So it was 2 pages of us, 24 people.
Yeah.
And we were all just in there like, me too,
I can relate.
too.
I
Did
can
we
relate.
all live the same
Thought it was
life?
just me. Yeah, we lived the same life. Different parents, literally. Yeah.
So it's just it was very actually interesting, even though I did follow eldest daughter clubs on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so you see all the things they post and you repost, like there's an eldest daughter's day, eldest daughter's month.
Yeah.
Because we need support.
We need support.
It is not easy
support.
carrying the entire family on your back.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like literally, like you're Superwoman. You're Superwoman. You're expected to be Superwoman.
You're expected to do everything. I think for me, the main thing that I could really relate to was just that example.
Yeah.
Having to be the example.
Yeah, you have to be the example.
And the pressure and the perfectionism that I carry with me because of that.
And the guilt that you carried when things maybe didn't look as like shiny and like perfect as you would have hoped they would. Correct. So it just is like, it is a lot, right? And so the episode is not necessarily about being a firstborn, but it really is about some of these instrumental experiences that we've had as growing up that have now shaped us into the women that we are now. You know, and as first generation Nigerian daughters, as Black women, as wives, as mothers, there really is, it's not even unspoken, it is very spoken, the Black Superwoman syndrome, you know, and we're really going to talk about kind of like deconstructing that and burning the cape and how our culture, our marriages, and our minds have all been like conditioned to like think a certain way, So that's what our episode is about today, is really kind of like the Superwoman complex and then burning the cape.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that if we're thinking about the Superwoman complex, right, it really is this idea, you know, when we say carry matter on your head, it's an African term, but it just means like you're thinking about the weight is on you, right? Like you're carrying every matter, every concern, every issue, every emotion. You are holding all of that. And so just from like from a clinical lens, like that manifests like as stress on the body. It manifests as like illness and sickness, and all of those things play into the manifestation of like this complex, right? And it's this pressure to kind of keep up, and it's to excel as a wife, to excel as a firstborn, to excel in work, to excel in your community, to really to do everything, but then obviously knowing that's a lot, not really being given the space to really express the vulnerable side that comes with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the stress around that, like being like, okay, so I may not be able to give 100 here, so y'all gonna have to take the 60.
Yeah.
No. It's like, we're like, I'm gonna do 100 in everything I do. I'm gonna go hard in everything.
Every aspect.
And it's like, in reality, as a human being, like you're only capable of but so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I think when I think about this complex, right, I also think about the added layer of being Nigerian, right? Like it is, I'm not saying Black women don't, we know.
Of course.
Especially like just even from a historical context within this country, that like the matriarchs in the Black family are just different in what they're expected to do and what they have been called to do, right?
They're protectors.
They're nurturers, they're caregivers, they're everything. A lot of times, and we're not going to go down the rabbit hole, but it's because they've had to be, right?
It has to be.
You know, their
survival.
Their families have been stripped apart from them. And so women have had to kind of step up in different regards. And so I think about that, but then I think about this added layer of being Nigerian, right? And so we have that dichotomy of being American, but then also being Nigerian, right? So like maybe outside of the home, we are our American selves, but then in the home, we are Nigerians. So we're seeing our mothers do a lot, right? And so not every family is the same, right? There are some husbands who were more hands-on in some regards, and some husbands who were less hands-on, right? But I think the cultural layer is like, you are expected to be a strong African woman. And when I think about my mom, I think about all of the things that she did. My dad was the breadwinner, yes, but my mother was an equal contributor to our home. You know, when she got home from work, she was still cooking us dinner. She was still cleaning the bathrooms and washing and doing the laundry and making sure that all of the groceries were done and making sure that we ate and make it like she was doing everything, you know. And that's not to say my dad was not. My dad, I know you talk about how your dad was very, very like super, super hands-on in the home. I can't relate. My dad was not. He was definitely watching football when we was in the kitchen. Him and DJ was very much watching TV while we was in the kitchen. Very much like when it was time to do chores on Saturday, my dad was still sleeping, DJ was still sleeping, and my mom and me and Toy were up. You know, cleaning the house. You know what I'm saying? So like it was very traditional in that regard. Now, did my dad step up and like make breakfast for us sometimes? And yes, he did. But like when it came down to it, my mom was the rearer of the home. And the women were expected to follow suit. We were expected to kind of follow suit. Like, how was it in your home?
For me, it was, I won't say it was the opposite, but my mom is like kind of like a feminist-y type of lady. So she's like, yes, women have things to do, but I also, like, she was like, I'm going to come here. I'm going to knock out these kids. And then I'm going to go to school. And she did. And so she went to school throughout probably my entire like middle school and high school. My mom got her associates, then she got her bachelor's, and then she got like she had to go to school again for like another year and a half for like another certification.
Nice.
And my mom was like going to Howard every single day.
So she was y'all was from Baltimore.
And we lived in Baltimore. Wow. So she was dropping us off at school and getting on the train and going to Howard. So and then she would come back home later. My dad was picking us up. He would have to get us food ready. So what I saw was that my mom was being allowed to kind of chase her dreams while my dad was
held the fort,
holding the fort down.
I like that.
And not to say like my mom would make her like do her batch cooking on the weekends. We would feed ourselves through the week. And that's really how we kind of were. So I think I grew up seeing more of the Superwoman complex for me looked more like I'm trying to chase my dreams and maintain my family. But I always saw like the partnership, that it wasn't just one person that you didn't have to do it by yourself.
Right.
That was kind of what I saw. I saw that, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to go for my dreams. I'm trying to chase, I'm trying to make something of myself in this country, but I have a partner, so I don't have to do it myself.
Okay.
So that's kind of more so what I grew up seeing. And I think I kind of brought that into my relationship too. It's very like we're very equal, right? Like it's like there's nothing that I could do for my kids that Dapo couldn't do, and vice versa.
So I think that like more traditional. I would say that because I feel like that is not the that is an exception.
I feel like we were less traditional.
You were less traditional because I think more traditional households, it's very much gender roles.
It is
very
typical.
much gender roles.
And the crazy part is that my mom now, she still be like trying to implement the gender roles on us, like your husband, you're sleeping and laying down while your husband is in the kitchen. I'm like, hey, lady, not too much on me. Not too much on me. No, let's not go there. You know what I'm saying? Or like I'll come up to her house and she'll be like, oh, you're not going to get your husband food? I'm like, I'm sorry. Do what? I do that at my mother-in-law's house, not here. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm free here. Not too much on me, Mom, please. Like, he knows where the fridge is.
But I think culturally, a lot of us grew up in the more traditional homes of like the mom cooking and the cleaning, the dad just like going to work.
Going to work, And, and I think I think that could lead to a lot of resentment, but it also can lead to like a lot of pressure, right? Where you feel that is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Because I know that is, and I know we talked about this in another episode, but like that is exactly what I saw. And so what I thought was going to be my marriage. That it was going to be me like going to work, because also our parents raised us here where we were going to school and we were going for our degrees and we were having careers. We never had the expectations that we were going to be stay-at-home moms. At least I didn't. I never had the expectation.
No, my dad straight up told me like you are not to be a stay-at-home mom.
You are going to go. You are going to have a career. You're going to be able to make your own money. And that is how I move through life. So even if my husband was doing all of these things, my expectation was that I was always still going to be a contributor in some type of way, right? And so I think with that, I had that expectation that like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be tired all the time. That's literally what I thought. I was like, I'm supposed to be. Like that is what I thought. I was like, you know what? I expect to be tired.
Yeah.
I expect to cook and clean. I expect to have a job and then still be expected to do everything at home.
Yeah.
Because that's what I saw.
Yeah.
And so I think and I feel like that is historically where this kind of complex comes from. And, you know, we have like some things that have it, but Dr. Raquel Martin, which we love, she came up with like just a really nice, easy, if you're watching online, you're seeing that I'm holding this up there, but like, I'm going to read these things out because it really succinctly kind of just brings together what this complex really is and what you kind of see in women who typically are experiencing this, right?
Yeah.
So what are some signs, right? So a lot of times you suppress your emotions. So you hide how you might really feel to avoid appearing weak, right? You don't want to say like, this is hard for me.
Yeah.
You don't want to say this is too much because you expect it's like you feel like this is your cross to bear a lot of times. So you suppress how you really feel, right? Yeah. You are not always vulnerable. You lack vulnerability, right? You avoid that dependence because you don't want to feel weak, right? So in a partnership, in a marriage, you want to have that partner who's able to kind of take the load off, right? And I feel like this is in parallel with another episode we did with Bashe, the John Henryanism complex, where the men also feel this way, right? Where like, I am the man, I am expected to do all of these things, and I cannot appear weak, right? So this is really like the mirror to John Henryanism, you know.
Female version.
It's the female version, right? Then there's self-sacrifice, where you feel responsible for meeting the needs of others over your own. Right. And I think that at least for me, even up until this day, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I see up until today, my mom does that. Like up until today, she will make sure that we are good. She'll make sure my kids are good. She will make sure all of her grandkids are good. In front of herself. Like she will be tired. Yeah. But still like.
We just talked to her laying up with
she laid up with Noah with my niece. Like, you know what I mean? After like a long week of work, she still will put herself, she will still put us before herself. Yeah. You know, and I think that that's also just a mothering trait. Yeah. But I do feel like it absolutely plays into this like self-sacrifice, like the Superwoman complex, right? Then there's unsustainable striving, right? So and I think this goes hand in hand with like this eldest daughter. Mm-hmm. So it's like this strong drive to achieve goals, often leading to stress and exhaustion, where like you want to keep going and keep pushing. I'm gonna even use you as an example because I remember when your brother was getting married.
Oh my God.
And you were like, I have to give this amount. Yeah. And you were like, I don't care what happens. And even me, right? Like with both of my, see, like you had a little gap. I'm not gonna say it was a lot. Yeah. It wasn't a lot. You had a couple months.
It was 2021.
And 2022.
And 2020.
It wasn't
2022 and 2023.
Yeah. But it still was end of 2022.
It was end of, end of 2023. Yeah. It was like I had like a year.
You had a year. I had
like 3 months.
3 months. At 3 months.
Yours was crazy.
And I was like,
I was able to re-up.
You were able to re-up. And in my mind, I was like, how do I re-up?
You couldn't re-up.
I couldn't re-up.
You couldn't re-up.
But I needed to still make things move and shake. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like yours was even more intense because you were also maid of honor.
Maid of honor. You had brothers.
I had brothers.
You weren't going on any bachelor trips.
Oh,
I was going on a bachelorette trip, a bridal shower.
I wasn't even a bridesmaid, so I didn't have to buy a dress. I bought a lot of dresses, bought a lot of dresses. But I didn't have to do the bridesmaid's dress, the bridesmaid's hair, all that stuff.
My God.
I could do my own thing.
Jesus. So thank you for even adding that because...
that was a journey.
It was a journey. And it was like all in tandem. It was all together.
It was crazy.
So it was like my brother's wedding was in September, but batch was July. So it was July. July was a bridal shower. August was bachelorette.
Yes.
Wedding was September for my brother. I had a
No,
month.
Toya C's wedding was September.
Sorry.
Yeah.
June. Sorry. June
Yeah.
was brother's wedding.
Yeah.
July was bridal.
Yeah, it was
like
that
this.
That was a
That's how
lot.
It was a lot.
That was a lot, girl.
It was a lot.
But we made it through.
We made it through, praise God.
But still.
But it was unsustainable striving. Because I was like, this cannot be life. It was a lot.
Yo. My brother got married in Nigeria. My mom was like, okay, I have 3 younger brothers. So the youngest one, they were like, when are you getting married? They're going to do it in Nigeria. And he was like, I'm not getting married. I'm like,
I mean, it's okay.
I'm not mad at that.
3 out of 4 ain't bad. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
We tried.
No, you tried. I was like, thank God I'm done. I am
You're
done.
You're
Praise
done. You're done. Until the nieces and nephews
and nephews.
And then, they start coming back around.
It was.
But you good for now.
It was
it was a lot. So, and just so we're talking about the weight, right?
Yeah.
And like the necessary stress.
Yeah.
It's like, we now, like we say, we carried it on our heads.
Yeah,
it was
a lot.
My brother is getting married.
I have to show up.
So anything that they need,
I have to show up.
I need to be able to
show up. I have to show up.
Like,
in whatever. And it's like, my dress still got a family.
Yeah, still got a family.
That still has responsibilities and things I need to worry about. But
then my mother was expecting me. I was telling her, like, I'm giving this to my brother for his wedding. Mm-hmm. And she was like, but what you giving us? I'm like, I'm sorry. And then she was like, we need help too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm helping parents. I'm helping
siblings.
And then I also need to
help myself.
Because what am I wearing?
How's my hair going to be? How's my makeup going to be for all of these things? So yes, it's a time.
Crazy.
And then lastly, it's duty to display strength, which I think is absolutely the case, where you need to always appear strong for your children, your family, your community, your friends, everyone. And my sister is calling me right now, wanting me to be the strong one. Sister, you can't do that. Okay. And it's not letting me cut it off. Wow.
Okay.
I'm just going to answer it and tell her, sister, I am recording the podcast. I see my nephew.
Hi, nephew.
My nephew, Toya, but I really got to go. I'm literally recording.
Wait, she called me too. Oh, sorry. Hi, Toya.
Crazy. Hi, family.
Say hi. We were just
You're literally on the podcast,
girl.
but yeah, I'm going to go. Bye. We don't need to cut it out. It's fine. It's okay. But yeah, I thought all my things were on Do Not Disturb. They're not. Turn it on now. Anywho. Sorry, guys, for those of you listening.
You want to cut it out, so just start where you was at.
But so I think that that last one is this display, the always wanting to be on and always having to appear strong.
Yeah.
And obviously, we are not always strong. No. We cannot always be strong.
It's impossible.
And I think that that pushing because we think it's an expectation is what's difficult.
Yeah.
And so I know we talked about a little examples, like just with our brothers and sisters getting married and things like that. But Mammy, do you ever have a time or can you remember a time when you directly remember wearing the Superwoman cape?
Okay, so my example that I always go to, and I think I probably talked about it on here before, was like when I first got married, and it was just that I had this idea of what a wife was supposed to be, and I didn't even have kids yet. But I was like, oh, I'm going to make a meal every day for my man. He's going to come home every day to a home cooked meal. And in my mind, it made sense. Mm-hmm. But in application, it was like, wait, I'm working too. Yeah. And so we get home at the same time. And
so how that going to happen?
So was I supposed to take the chicken out before I left? How was I supposed to do this? It didn't, I couldn't figure it out. Yeah. And then it was going to work. It was also trying to spend quality time because that is my love language.
Yeah.
So making sure that we're getting quality time, making sure that I'm still being a good friend because back then I was still the only one of my friends that got married. Right. So I'm still like, let's hang out, come over.
Yeah, trying to balance it all.
And then also, getting into that place in your career where you're just like, what am I going to do? Yeah. I should have probably went to MBA. Should I go finish that?
Right.
And then on top of being a new wife. It just felt like there was so much going on. Yeah. And by the time I started to find my bearings, I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So it was like
you ain't really have a long gap there.
We did not. Mm-mm. I think we got married in August and I found out I was pregnant by January.
You said, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like I was just getting my footing and then it was like, oh, there's a baby coming. And so that's a whole other layer. Yeah. So I feel like I didn't really get my bearings until 3 years in, because then it's
Yeah.
like you pregnant, so you out of it. You have the baby, then it's
you
like
still
you
trying
have
to
the
adjust.
baby.
Yeah, gotta
And then
adjust
the
to that.
baby's a little bit, you get used to having the baby, and then it's like, who am I again?
Yeah, like what?
What is this?
Who am I?
What is happening here? You know, and so it's just that for me was when I felt like I was trying to do so many things all at once.
Yeah.
I feel like as I matured and got older, and as life just starts really just kicking your butt, you just realize, like, you know what? I can only have one ball in the air at a time.
Yeah, and that's just it.
I can only do one thing at a time.
And that's just it. That's good.
Maybe two, but
Max
I cannot
two.
come and die.
Yeah, you can't come and kill yourself.
Cannot come and kill myself.
Yeah, that's true.
How about you? I feel like you be doing it a lot. I feel like the Superwoman be on your neck, honey.
And my pastor wife say all the time, she's like, Lara, you need to
take it down a notch.
She said, and what I have recognized about myself, and literally like intentionally have been taking active steps, but there's a not a saying, but there's a passage in the Bible that talks about Martha and Mary. And so those were friends of Jesus, and they went to go visit Jesus went to go visit them.
Yeah, I think
and basically, like, Martha is getting everything ready.
Doing the most.
She doing the most. She getting the food, making sure he good. You want water? You need anything? You good? And Mary just chilling. She's
looking
like,
at Jesus.
What you talking about?
Like, hey, Jesus.
Hey, Jesus, I'm just listening.
Yeah.
And Martha said, Jesus, why Mary not helping me?
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, baby girl, Mary know what's up.
Mary where she's supposed to be.
She's doing what she's supposed to be. And I feel like I recognize that I am a Martha.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing, I don't feel productive.
Yeah.
I don't feel valued.
Yeah.
I don't feel valuable.
Yeah.
And so I recognize that about myself. And so it is hard to turn off.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have to be busy.
Yeah.
When I'm idle, it feels like I am not doing. I just don't feel like I'm doing. So do
you feel like useless? I
feel useless.
Yeah, you feel like
I feel unproductive. Like every minute is supposed to be spent, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
It's crazy because it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
It's not. Come on now, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as a firstborn, as somebody who's now like transitioned to entrepreneurship, it's like.
And the image you had of your mom growing up.
And the image I had of my mom, who's always on go.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I also seen the times when my mom is super tired. You know what I mean? And I felt like she never had that like respite. Right? There's a difference between like getting rest, but respite is different. Like relaxing. You know what I mean? So I feel like that is like ingrained in me. And so it's been hard. It's like, I'm happy I recognize it because it's not sustainable. I have burnt out and I don't give my best in an area. It might not, like certain areas will get the best, but like there's always areas that suffer. Right. And so I know that for sure for me, it goes right into that cost of wearing the cape, right? There's the emotional toll. And it's like, I know I absolutely see it myself where it's like, I am tired. I am beat, but I can only let myself know that. Other people cannot know that I'm tired. You know, but other people see it though. Like people who are in tune, like my pastor's wife, she's like, she get me to look and she's like, you're tired. And I'm like, stop looking into my soul, lady, please. But like, please stop. But like, she knows it, you know, and there's other people who are privy to me. Like even you'd be like, Lara, you've been on go a lot.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So like, right. And so it's something right. And I'm like, no, like not at all. Not right now. Actually, I'm a little tired. I'm not crashing out, but I'm like, I'm getting there.
Teetering.
Mr. Krabs, I'm kind of getting there. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm kind of getting there. Yeah. But like, I know that about myself, and like, I have been trying to implement things. Like even yesterday, like I kind of took just a break, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna block off these hours and be still.
Good.
You know what I mean? So like I've been doing the needful to kind of get to a place where like I don't have to feel productive all the time. But like I know it and just even I feel like this realization and like doing active things has even helped me because I feel like it also took a toll on me on Tala because I feel like Tala was always getting the leftovers. Like Tella was getting the leftovers.
And that's a very good point.
Yeah.
It's typically the people closest to you.
He was getting the leftovers. He was getting all of you. I was giving everything to everybody else, but I was not watering my marriage, like, at all. Like, you know what I mean? So I know for sure that was a cost of wearing the cape, like, hands down.
Yeah.
And like I was disconnected. And I felt like Tella was like almost like he came to expect it. So it's like whatever he got, he kind of just took. My bad.
Sorry, Tella.
My bad, babes. My bad.
She working on it.
I'm working on it. Oh, actively working on it. Like, actively. And like, this is like active work because I know this is what it was. And like, I felt like once I got that revelation, I felt like it was, and I felt like also burning the cape for me, and I know we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I felt like when I recognized and did it, it also kind of allowed me to rely on Tella in a different way, which helped me be vulnerable, and it helped me
take the cape off
every
now and then.
Yeah. You know, so even though I'm saying I rip and run, I do recognize that, like, because I have taken it off in some regards, it's allowed Tella to kind of like swoop in and help and save and come.
And I love that. Yeah. I love that. I think that's a great when you take off the cape and you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you'll be surprised at who will come and help. Yeah. And in your case, not necessarily surprised because that's your husband, but you're giving him the opportunity to come and help.
Absolutely.
And so that goes right into the practical steps to let go. Yeah. To let go of the cape. Absolutely. Right. Mm-hmm. So for you, some of that was, like you said, building in time for rest and blocking out time on your calendar, being more vulnerable, allowing your husband to come in and help. Yeah. I think another thing is delegation, right?
Absolutely.
Like we have an assistant on our team now, which has actually really helped us. Helpful. If there's something that's crazy, we just, not crazy, but if things are getting too high, we're just like, hey, sister.
Debbie girl.
Hey, Debbie, shout out to you. Love you. Debbie, do you got this?
Yeah.
And she'll take it. Yeah. And also trusting that she'll do a good job with that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, because you have to recognize that, like, you know, I think that sometimes we as like women, like, we want to hold on to things because we feel like we can only do it the way that we can do it. Right?
It's control.
It's control.
It's
control. Yeah. But once you recognize that, like, this other person might not do it exactly the way, but they're still going to get the job done. You know, and they're going to do it with love and care.
Yeah.
It allows you that ability to let go. To release. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Really good. And I feel like even having honest conversations, right? Yeah. Like, I feel like Tella has said, and so again, one thing about Tella might not always be, he gets direct when it's like, we up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, he'll throw in the subtle every now and then, but it's like, when he's gotten here is when he's just like, well, actually, da-da-da-da-da. And I feel like, you know, those honest conversations are necessary. And like, I feel like I check myself because I can get defensive. Because I'm like even today, I was like, where that coming from? I mean, you ain't say this before.
I thought we was cool.
I thought we was $100,000. Like, where that come from? But I recognize that, like, it still requires honest conversations. You know, I'm joking about it, right? But like, I do feel like he needs to be able to be honest with me, but I also need to be able to receive it.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right? Yeah. You know, I feel like having those honest conversations about just responsibilities in general. Like, you know, I know me and you had talked about like what we were going to do this week to support. You making a face like you ain't do nothing. Did you? Okay. You ain't got to don't put yourself out there.
I tried.
You try. Okay, there you go.
I picked up the kids more, like we talked about.
Half a time more, one time more. It's okay.
Baby step in. Baby step in.
Baby walk it, slow walk it. You know, but I feel like, you know, those honest conversations about like, is this too much for you?
Yeah.
Like there was something that Bashe said on another episode. He was just like, you know, what is helpful for him? And like, are you asking, is this helpful for you?
And not just because you think it might be helpful, but is it actually moving
helpful?
The needle for him?
But I think that's also us as well.
Applicable to us.
It's applicable to us as well, right? So I think that that's really good. And then also like the scheduling the time for self-care.
Yeah, very important.
We talked about that in our joy episode that like it cannot be self-indulgence. It's got to be self-care. Yeah. How are you caring about your body, caring about your mind, caring about your spirit? Yeah. How are you filling yourself with like good things, right? Like the way you like they talk about eating well and things like that. It's the same way that your spirit needs to be fed. It's the same way your mind needs to be fed. It's the same way your body needs to be fed. And like that only happens with like practical, like scheduled, regular,
I'm about to say
consistent self-care.
Consistent,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got?
And I think the last one is like trusting God.
Mhm.
You know, I was going to tie that in.
Absolutely.
But I think for me, like letting go and letting God
Yeah.
is just transformational.
Yeah.
When you're able to, like, y'all know it's going crazy. It's crazy right now,
It
the
is.
area we
Crazy
live
times,
in
yeah.
with the workforce and
Mhm.
slashing the feds and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like directly impacting our lives.
No,
And
directly. Mhm.
you know, it could be something that is stressful, anxiety inducing,
Mhm.
but I think, you know, the exercise of just saying, God, wherever you want me to land
Mhm.
is where I'm going to land.
Yeah, that's good.
It's very freeing.
Yeah.
It releases a lot of tension, and you still feel stressed out, but at the same time, it's just that having that faith and having that trust, it just lifts so much off your shoulders.
It does.
And it can do the same thing with your Superwoman cape. If you're feeling choked up or you're feeling like, how do I manage all of it? If I stop doing this one thing,
Yeah.
everything will crumble.
Yeah.
No, it won't.
It won't.
It will not.
And honestly, to be honest, even if it does, like what I like have recognized, right, is that sometimes we need to take a step back so that other people can rise up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I it is my leadership style, but like if I feel like I have to do everything, then that means there will never be an opportunity for people to stand up and rise and also become leaders as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes things need to kind of shake. The foundation needs to be shaken a little bit
so people can
step up and rise up, right?
Yeah.
And so just even going back to this, like my favorite scripture is Exodus 14:14, and it says, the Lord will fight for you, be still and remain calm, or something along those lines. Like, yeah, be silent and remain calm, right? And it's like that trust, like I'm handing it over.
Yeah.
So that like, and I'm not feeling calm, but I'm trusting that you're going to fight for me. I'm trusting that you're going to sort it out for me. Even if it don't look the way that I might want it to look, but I'm trusting that you're going to fight for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so I think that that's really important. So, and I also, some other gems that like practically from Dr. Raquel, encouraging open discussions. I think we talked about that, about our emotions and our stress. So like, your stress level, what is it today? How can I help reduce that number? And I think that's like a practical thing you can say to your husband or to your wife. Like,
just ask.
I am stressed right now. Okay, what can I do to help you reduce your stress? Like,
I think that's a great question.
Yeah, you're at a 10. How can I bring you down to an 8?
Yeah.
Like, what is something practically I can do to bring you down to an 8, right? Obviously, we talked about the scheduling, the self-care. We talked about that one. Develop healthy ways to express emotions and build a support network. And it is paramount.
It is.
Like you must
having community.
You need community. We are not called to do life alone, right? In marriage, in motherhood, in fatherhood, we're not called to do life alone. Like fellowship, it is called. We are called to be together and to glean from one another. You know, so that's also an important one. And then also understand how past and present societal pressures impact your stress and how you can handle it. And I think that goes right back to like our culture. Like how have those things impacted how you see marriage, how you see motherhood, how you see friendships? Like it all plays a role.
And doesn't need to be tweets, because there's some things that we saw growing up that is good, right? Like it created us and created the best parts of us. Some things you want to keep, some things need to be modernized.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think those are just some little practical ways that we can burn the cape. You know, it is important for us to recognize that we are superwomen. Like we are. We're absolutely superwomen. We bring life into this world. We're nurturers. We're caregivers. We're all of the things. But then we also need to know that cape can be hung up.
And
left in the closet.
You know,
you can relax. We're speaking to ourselves here.
Yeah, like I know the soft life movement was a whole thing a couple years ago, and I feel like a lot of people made it about like fancy dinners and like designer clothes. But on the other side of being soft life is really just being, resting,
chilling.
Like, and it's not even about the whole femininity and being a like feminine soft woman. It's really, you know, because I'd be on the fence about that. But it's really just about being able to be. And whoever you are in that moment is okay.
Okay.
Like, you don't have to be a provider. You don't have to be a problem solver. In this moment right now, you're just Memmy.
I'm just a girl.
I'm just a
girl.
I'm just Memmy, and and we love her, and she is exactly what she needs to be right now in this moment.
Now.
And that is enough.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it, y'all. I mean, I think that's such a great place to just end it right there. But women, we want you to take off the cape. We want you to burn the cape.
Burn it.
Be your best selves. It's not even about soft life. Live in this life, but do it authentically.
Yeah.
Do it genuinely, and just be you guys.
Be you.
And that's all we got for today. It's been another episode from Chats from the Peak.
Bye.
Bye.